completed the 100. This year, I'm going for a buckle. Hey everyone, welcome to Adam Lives Adventure. And today I'm sharing with you 4 years of advice and experience from doing the Crusher EX. What is the Crusher EX? The Crusher EX is the enhanced ride at your own time version of the Mass Start gravel race up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. There are a few distances, starting with 40 miles, which actually ranges out to be about 60 to 70 miles, all the way up to the 225, which actually is about 240 miles. Today, I'm going to break down those 240 miles into 6 steps. We're going to go over mindset, training, gear mistakes, a little bit of nutrition and hydration, pacing, a little bit of hike a bike here, and what I might do differently. Mindset. So it should go without saying that doing a 240 mile adventure race requires a level of fitness. It's obvious. I'm not going to go into a training plan here. There's plenty of places to find that online. I'm not a training plan coach. A lot of what I talk about isn't science-based, it's experience-based. But you need to be training. You need to be doing big miles, big rides, lots of riding. They say, like when you ride your first century, 100 miles, you don't necessarily have to ride 100 miles in your training. And that's true, but for something this big, you still need to have some big days on the saddle. And it really helps to have back-to-back days with big fatigue so that you're used to being tired, because you're gonna be tired. It's a long time out there. But the most important thing is mindset. You can have all the training, but if your mind isn't in the right place, it's not going to save you. You really simply have to break this one down into manageable chunks. Everybody has their own way they can do this. I like to turn off a lot of my data on my screen so I can't see the distance. I can't see how far I have to go, but I can see how many miles I have till the next checkpoint, the next turn, the next feature, etc. Having those smaller miles to tick off. I talked about this a little bit in my Bear 100 video too. Having smaller distances to look at that you can break it down. Because when you look at, oh, I have 185 miles to go, and you're tired, it gets really disheartening. So one of my mental tricks, I took notes, is to remember that no feeling is permanent. No matter what you're feeling in the moment, it's not going to last. Now, that can be a positive thing and a negative thing, so you have to use it to even yourself out. So if you're feeling really good, remember, at some point you're going to feel like crap. But you're going to feel good again. As long as you're feeling well, you're going to have those dips. And if you're feeling crappy, it's not an alarm bell. It's just a sign that you're going through the normal phases and you need to eat and keep pushing, because those feelings are going to pass. You're going to feel good again. You're going to feel crappy. You might feel good for a really long time. You might feel crappy for a really long time. That's normal. Don't let it get you down. Just ride through it. If you got to slow down a little bit, drop your pace, that's fine. Any other way that you can break down the ride, whether it be I'm going to go another 5 miles without looking at my computer, or I'm going to listen to this song and after 3 songs I'll check the distance, whatever it is. There's a lot of little mental games you can play with yourself to keep going. Anything that can just keep your mind off of the pain, if you're feeling any pain, but mostly just stay in the moment. That's one of the biggest things that's helped me, is not thinking about the finish, and sometimes not even thinking about the next 5 miles, but just remembering where I am. Right here, right now, this is the ride. This is the moment, right now. This is the only moment that matters. I can't control what happens in 10 minutes anyway. So I'm going to enjoy the moment I have. Or I'm going to focus on pushing through the current suffering and not worry about the suffering 2 hours from now, but the suffering right now. because that I know I can push through. So just some tips there for keeping going, because the mental battle is the hardest one. The first time I quit, I lost the mental battle big time, and I paid for it. So remember these little tricks. Break it down into chunks. Live in the moment. No feeling is permanent. Everything's going to change. It's going to get worse. It's going to get better. It's going to get worse again. Ride through it anyway. So, on to part 2, the training. Like I said, I'm not going to go deep into the training plan or the structure or anything like that. But what I want to talk about is simulated training and testing your gear. So I'm going to pop up a little video here that I took for you. This is one of my, I can't call it one of my favorite things because it sucks, but one of the ways that I like to end my long night rides, my big training rides, is I go to the parking ramp downtown and I hoist my bike up and I run all the way to the top of the staircase of the parking garage, and then I ride down. Lunacy, right? This sounds stupid as heck. Why would I do this? Well, I'm doing a ride with lots of hike-a-bike. I gotta carry my bike through rivers. I have to feel a little bit ridiculous at points in this ride. So I purposely make myself feel completely ridiculous carrying my bike up these stairs. I look like a nut. I feel like a nut. But it's silly. So when I'm suffering how many hours into a ride and I gotta hoist my bike over a tree or cross a river, I can think back to this stupid moment of me hiking up to the top of the parking garage and think, I got this. It's just another hike. It's just another obstacle. It's no big deal. So simulated training. Other things I do, riding in the worst weather possible, because do not know what the weather's going to hold. And this is true for any big adventure race, or if you're bike packing, the weather's going to change a lot, and you need to be prepared for all of it. So I ride in the crap. I like to ride in the sun, but thinking of a day when it's really crappy out, it's a good day to crush your train, because you never know what you're going to get. Other things, mud, dirt, any kind of crazy conditions you can get to. Obviously, if you have local mountain bike trails, I don't recommend riding them when it's really muddy, because you don't want to rut up your local trails. It's totally not cool. Really messes with your builders, gives them a rough time. Don't do that. But do find yourself rough conditions to ride in. And the other really, really, really important thing in your training is to test your gear. I really can't emphasize this enough. I had a lot of struggles last year with electronics, and I did test my gear, and I tested it a lot, and some of it still failed me. Now, there's no way I could predict that my phone was just going to completely stop working. It just died. Nothing even happened. I didn't drop it. Just died. I couldn't control that. That's not something you can prepare for. But had I tested everything, I would have had a paper copy of all my checkpoints, which could have saved me last year. So testing everything out, and I mean to the point of get your Garmin, find a route, make it a complicated route, like really complicated. Get really deep into it, turn your device off and go get lost. Turn your device back on and try to reroute back to the course. Try to navigate an area you've never been without your phone or without your GPS. Test all your nutrition that you're going to use, all the very same things that you want to eat. Test your shoes, test your hydration pack, everything, but especially electronics and especially navigation, because those things can be huge. When you're bike packing or you're doing crusher, there's no signs, there's no trail markings, you don't really know where you are, so you have to be able to understand your gear, how it works in really super strange situations. So make up ridiculous scenarios and test them out. Ride all through the night until your battery dies, and then figure out how to charge your device on the run and reload the route. Pretend that your route is completely broken, delete it off of your unit, and see if you can get it back on and get back into the route. Yes, I've had to do that. It sucks. But that's why we test. Super, super important. I can't stress it enough. You have to test your gear. It's a really long time out in the middle of nowhere in the wilderness. Bad things can happen. You've got to know what you have and how to use it. Okay, part 3, I'm going to go over some gear mistakes that I've made and how you can avoid them. Now, I've done a whole video on my gear breakdown from last year's Crusher, so I will post a link to that in the description or at the end of the video. I'm still working out how to do that stuff yet, but I'll post a link to that so you can check it out. But I wanted to go over a couple things that I've screwed up in the past, and starting with this. I use a hydration bag now. It's another Evok, but this is the big Kahuna. And the problem with big backpacks like this is you tend to fill them. I got all these spaces, right? I can put chamois cream in here. I can put tons of snacks and tools and all this stuff. So the problem is you're tempted to fill every square inch of space in this thing, and then you've got how many pounds of gear on your back. Now, I'm not 20 years old anymore. I don't want to have tons of weight on my back. So I load my bike up and I try to keep weight off my body as much as possible. Now, like I said, I run a hydration pack. Last year I had support, so I didn't even put my hydration pack on until I think mile 150. So I would caution against putting a lot of weight on your body. Get as much of it on the bike as possible. It's easier to control and it's easier on your body. Speaking of easier on your body, tire choice is also a huge deal. So the first year that I did the 225, I ran my fat bike, which I still run my fat bike, but I have 29-inch wheels with a 2.8-inch wide tire now. When I first did it, I rode with these puppies. Oh yeah, there's a spider web in there. These are my Terraville Coronados. These are 26 by 4 inches. Now, there was a section of red road that these tires were absolutely perfect. I think it was about 3 miles that they were the perfect tire. The rest of the ride, I was just working too hard, putting way too many watts into those tires. They were good for the sand, but as soon as you got into flat gravel, which there's not a lot of really nice gravel, but on the sections that you could actually get some speed, I was working so hard to keep up because I had those big old tires. So just a couple simple things. The last one is more to do with hydration, but it's definitely a mistake I made. It's be careful with caffeine. Caffeine is really good, especially in the night, but you don't want to start with too much of it. I found that starting with lots of caffeine and staying through it, by the time it got dark, it did nothing. My body had completely adjusted to it, and now I couldn't get the boost when I actually needed it. Now, I know caffeine isn't a boost per se. It dims your pain receptors, whatever. But the point being, it doesn't work as well if you stay on it all the time. So save it for when it really matters. And that brings me into nutrition and hydration. So I'm not going to talk a whole lot about this because I'm going to do a separate video on hydration, but I will kind of go over the basics if I have my stuff down here. Might still be in the car. Yeah, I don't have my Tailwind in here. I use the Tailwind Watermelon. That's one of my biggest fuel sources. But the one teaser I'll say for my nutrition video is that pancakes. All right. Part 5 that I want to talk about is pacing. This one can be super tricky, especially if you ride with other people, because you might not all be on the same pace. So I think the important thing is to have a discussion with the people that you're riding with, to talk about what the expectations are. Who's going to drop back, who's going to go forward, what's going to happen if somebody's feeling really well and somebody's not. It's important to know going in. But what you really want to be, where you really would like to be, is in the middle range. So, just like right now, you want to be comfortable talking. You don't want to be, Guys, I just need to take a break for a second. That's not where you want to be. You're not going to be able to keep up that big of an effort over the whole thing. You start to get that, oh, man, I'm having a hard time breathing. I got to slow down a little bit. Everything would be a little bit easier. Now, of course, you're going to get to those sections where you have to be hurting. It's in any gravel race. But there are moments when you're climbing Mount Arvon, Trail of No Return. It's not going to be easy, and you can't control your heart rate. Those moments are going to happen. But those are the outliers. The important part is to stay at a steady pace, a manageable pace, the bulk of the time. If you're not familiar with the concept of a matchbook, they talk about it a lot in racing, that you only have so many matches to burn. It's based on your training, it's based on your fueling. But every time you burn one of those big matches, and you're working really hard, and your heart rate gets up to 85-90% of max, that's draining your matchbook. It's draining your fuel tank. And if you don't get that stuff under control, it's going to come back to bite you. And it ain't going to bite you when it's sunny and nice out and you're on a nice smooth gravel trail. It's going to bite you at 3:30 in the morning when you're hiking your bike through a giant mud puddle. And you'd rather have the energy then than in the daytime, so you could be 100 yards ahead of your friends. Trust me on that one. Just keep it steady. Keep a nice conversational pace. You're going to get to the finish. Don't rush it. As Todd says, don't chase pain. It'll find you.
So, you know, I've been thinking about what I'm going to do differently this year. And aside from writing down the checkpoints and having a physical reminder of all the checkpoints, I don't think I'm going to change anything. The strategy was sound. My mental game was on point. Feeling was on point. I think I'm going to keep it all the same. And I think I'm ready to do this thing. And I think you could be too. So if any of this was helpful, I would love it if you'd subscribe, if you'd comment and let me know what races you're shooting for, what you're training for. Especially if you're doing the Crusher, let me know. Hit me up in the comments. Any advice I can give you, heck, any advice you have for me. It's a great time. It's one of the hardest things I've ever done, but it is totally worth all the work. So yeah, hit me up if you want more content like this. I'll be putting out more Crusher videos, Margie, mindset, endurance training, all that stuff. So thank you so much for watching. Go crush it.